Hello my fellow book addicts, Megan here, and time for another book review. Today I'm going to be talking about Murder of Crows by Anne Bishop, and this is book 2 in the Other series. So because this is a sequel, there's not going to be too much I can say without doing potential spoilers, but I will say this was a great addition to the series. I still adore all the characters. I especially find it funny how the Terra Indigene, I think I am saying that right, I'm not 100% sure still. I do like how just, for lack of better words, naive they are with so many human interaction-like things. Just how some simple human traits and habits and social cues and all that, just how some of that can throw them for such a loop. And I feel it's wrong to call them adorable because they are like the top predator in this world. Like, they are the top dogs in this world. So I feel weird calling them adorable, but at the same time, it's really adorable to read. And I always just have the biggest grin on my face as they get so confused over some simple things or things that I and other readers consider simple. And it just shows as a nice reminder that they are not human despite the fact that they may look and pretend to be human. And before I forget, this does take place, I think they said about a month or so, or maybe a couple months after the last book left off. So not too big of a skip, but enough to kind of keep things going without seeming too dragged out. And there's something going on. There are 2 drugs that are floating about communities. They're called Feel Good and Gone Over Wolf. I believe at least Gone Over Wolf has been mentioned in the last one. I think Feel Good too. But there are 2 drugs that affect others as well as humans. Feel Good gives someone like a high. They feel really relaxed and just mellow, and for lack of better words, submissive and very non-aggressive. So basically, it can put someone out so much that they don't even do anything to save themselves if someone is about to kill them. Like, it could even make a wolf or a grizzly just kind of sit back and just let themselves be torn limb from limb, which is a terrifying thing to think about, especially with tensions between humans and others being so high. Meanwhile, Gone Over Wolf makes someone very aggressive. Like, for example, if a human were to take it, it will make them so unafraid and strong that they would go after others and attack them. And yeah, tension between others and humans is tense at the best of times. And having these drugs out on the street isn't gonna help any. And on top of this, we got Meg, who's trying to adjust to living on the outside instead of in her compound. She's still trying to learn how to handle herself. And meanwhile, the big boss of her former compound, the controller, still wants to get her back or to have her killed if he cannot do so. Things in Lakeside are pretty tense, especially after that big storm that Winter called up in response to Meg getting hurt in the last book. And we got Lieutenant Montgomery still trying to help keep the peace between others and humans. So there's a lot of different things going on, and all of them are equally serious. So unfortunately, I cannot say much more because that's going into slightly more spoilery territory. And yeah, like I said, I thought this was a good addition to the series. I really like how Anne Bishop can take all these different little plot points and just kind of weave them together. And just, I love this series. I love this world. I love the characters. I love her writing. And frankly, I'll be honest, this series has become one of those series to me where I just want to shove it in people's faces and beg them to read it. So yeah, that's really it for my non-spoiler bits. So if you have not read Murder of Crows yet, highly suggest you click away now and come back after you catch up. For all you lovely people who decide to hang out for the spoiler bit, I'm sorry, I'm going to be going so out of order for this. I have no notes, I'm just going based on what pops in my head right now. So when I first read this book, I was surprised that we wrapped up the issues with the controller in the second book, especially since I knew there was at least 3 more in the series. Like, I was genuinely expecting the whole struggle between keeping Meg free from the controller was going to go out throughout the series. But at the end of this book, it was all wrapped up and it was done really well. And reading it the second time, I'm really glad that they wrapped that all up in this book, because frankly, if that was going on for all 5 to 6 books, it'd probably get really old, especially when there's so many other things going on. I thought it was really clever how the two drugs, Gone Over Wolf and Feel Good, are traced back to the Blood Prophets, and how that's more or less the reason why the vampires do not feed from the Blood Prophets. I will admit some of the awkwardness between Meg and Simon kinda annoyed me through the book. Just lack of communication causing awkwardness and confusion makes me cringe so much, since just sitting down and talking can solve it. Though I do like how Anne Bishop didn't have us wait the entire book for them to sit down and actually talk things out. You know, the sit down chat thing happened not too long after the awkward situation happened. And heck, even to a point, I do understand why this lack of communication would happen. Meg has spent her whole life locked in her compound. She is very naive and childish when it comes to so many things. But being a Terra Indigene wolf, things come off different from him. The social cues and all that are different to him than they would seem to a human. I'm pretty sure I worded that horribly, but hopefully you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. So basically the miscommunication I can see and understand. So while the miscommunication doesn't make me cringe as much as it would in another setting, it is a little more understandable, but still part of me was cringing just a bit, because it's like, oh god, don't let this cause all sorts of unnecessary drama. Also just popped in my head, I love the human female pack. Mary Lee, Ruth, Heather, just that little team is fantastic. And I do really like how Meg has these other women who are there for her. And how they are there for Meg, how Mary Lee, though the prophecies kind of freak her out a bit, she still is willing to be there for Meg to write down the prophecy and try and help her decipher it. Also liked how we got to peer into some other Blood Prophet compounds, and to know that there is more than just where Meg came from, and they are run differently, though the end game is still let's make a profit off of cutting these girls and selling prophecies. And I was cheering on the Earth Natives so much as they were storming Meg's former compound. Like, I could not be happier at that. And just, my heart went out to all those girls and poor Jean, and how the Terra Indigene really drew that line in the sand. This is what happens to these compounds. Yeah, you better fix yourselves up. But though all these girls are now free, if they choose to be, especially since most of them, excluding cases like Jean, who are brought in when they're young, they have never stepped foot outside. They do not know how to take care of themselves. So giving them this sudden freedom is a big thing, and some of them might not want it. But those who do should be given that choice. So these girls are going to have this big adjustment period. So I really do appreciate how we do get to see the aftermath of this. So that's another reason why I'm glad that the whole controller drama didn't drag out for more than 2 books. And I'll just use Dystopian as an example. Just, you know, the group of heroes going against the big evil government and dismantling that government and then ending there and not seeing the aftermath or the fallout of what happens. So I really do appreciate how we do get to see it in this series. Because really the battle doesn't end with just taking down the bad guy, especially if it's such a big deal like an evil government, or in this case, these evil people who are keeping these girls as property and using them to make a profit. As you know, it's not like, hey, these girls can go out and do whatever they wish. There's going to be an adjustment period. There's going to be struggle. There's going to be stuff that goes wrong. Just using a little lick of common sense, you can know that. So, you know, that battle isn't over here. These girls still gotta learn how to survive out in the world. And just, I love how we get to see that. Or we're gonna be able to see that. And I look forward to reading it. Or rereading it in my case. I have a feeling there's something else that I was going to talk about. but I cannot for the life of me remember what the heck that was. So instead of sitting here and staring at my camera for the next 5 minutes, I'm just gonna cut myself off here. So for those of you who still might be watching, do you agree with me? Do you like how Anne Bishop did what she did? Were there other parts that I did not talk about that you really, really liked about this book? And on the opposite end of things, were there other things that you wish she did with this book? So yeah, that is it for this book review, and I hope to see you guys next time.